Hi, this is Silver Patrol, and I'm Krista Granger, aka Kat, and I'm here with David Riggins from North Carolina. How you doing?
I can't complain. How about yourself?
Fine. We're live now. I'm here in the bright, sunny Ohio. I say that with sarcasm. I mean, it was bright and sunny today, but I heard you went skydiving not too long ago. That was
Yeah,
freaking awesome. How was
yeah.
that?
It was intense. It was so fun. We're gonna do it again in exactly a month.
Nice. Where are y'all doing that? Down there in North Carolina?
The next one's gonna be in Tennessee.
In
Um,
Tennessee.
yeah, right outside of Nashville in Waverly, Tennessee.
Okay. Well, so how tell me about it. What did it feel
Uh,
like? Like did it feel like you were falling? I heard it's like you feel like you're falling, but like I don't know,
um, you feel weightless.
right?
Um, I had a friend of mine that described it as walking with the angels for a minute. Um,
Right. That would be nice.
that's a good description of it.
I would
It's a
love
powerful
to
thing.
do that. I would absolutely love to come join and do that with you sometime. So maybe this summer I'll get together with you and we'll go skydiving. So you're going
Like
for a second round.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is not mine right here. This is a friend of mine. He runs Recovery Warriors, Raymond Hill. He's this is gonna be his fourth year in a row doing it. And he asked me to come join him in with it and everything. And so I've been trying to scrounge up some support and all, and me and the group we're gonna try to go down there and get up in the air with them.
That's awesome. So like when you're in recovery, like you got to fill that void of the addiction and things like that. So tell me a little bit about that. Like how did your how did your journey start?
Well, I started as many of us did as a child, just kind of playing around. I started at 9 years old with smoking a little grass and this and that. But my actual addiction didn't really kick in until um, I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened. And so that, like so many of us, it put that patriotic push into me as okay, it's time to go and try to do something for our country.
Right.
Well, I ended up getting hurt in a training accident,
I'm
and
a
yeah, I was medically discharged. I'm a service-connected veteran,
well, thank you for your service,
not a
sir.
problem. Um, but the unfortunate thing is, this right here was at the height of the opioid crisis.
Right.
It was in 2003 when I got hurt, and so this was right when they were overly medicating individuals like crazy, this and that. So I ended up
What,
getting
I'm sorry. What year did you say that was?
2003.
2003. Okay, because I was around 2007, 2008 when. Okay, so I was going through the same thing around in the early 2000s. So
Yeah. Well, my legal getting them went all the way up to 2010. Um, but what happened was I ended up getting medically discharged from the military with humongous opioid prescriptions. See, I tore my ACL and my MCL in both knees.
been there.
And so thus I get medically discharged, big old prescription. My mentality is that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm accepting what the doctor's telling me. Here's what you need. And for the first couple of years, I probably did need them. But eventually, the physical dependency came in at such a strong hold that it overtook the actual need for it.
Right.
And so, thus, the abuse came in. I unfortunately began, um, for whatever reason, I came up with the wild idea of, the intaking them orally wasn't doing it. Then I started, taking them up the nose. And then all of a sudden, I started doing them that way. And that was when it really got bad.
So,
Well,
like when you didn't have them, like the pills and things like that, I know for me, I was in excruciating pain, like through the
oh,
withdrawals
yeah.
hundreds of times, and the pain was just unbearable. And it was literally hands down one of the hardest things I've ever had to do was get off of prescription pills for my knee surgery. So I mean, I can relate to you there.
I didn't know anything about not having them at that point because I was getting such large prescriptions. There was no running out. I was getting 240 methadone 10s and 180 Roxy 30s a month. I didn't run out. But what the unfortunate thing was is in 2010, the government all of a sudden said we're giving out too many pain pills. And so I literally went in to go see my pain doctor, and they told me that they couldn't write me the same prescription they had been writing me for the last 7 years. They cut my script to a quarter of what it was. So they took 75% of my prescription away in 1 month.
Yeah, I had to go to a pain specialist in order to get the pills. Like,
well, that's how it was for the 7 years. I was legally getting them from a pain specialist.
right.
But then when that right there happened, all of a sudden, you know, the physical need for it was so much higher than what a quarter of my prescription was going to be able to carry over. Buddies all of a sudden, hey man, I know where you can buy. I know somebody's got them, you know, on the street. Well, then that becomes too expensive. What happens then? Heroin's cheaper.
Luckily, I cannot relate to that, but I never went that far as to doing heroin. But I mean, had I not got help when I did, then that probably would have been in my life story as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the pills were bad enough for me that it was bad. Like I was taking mine, I was taking my ex-husband's, and then I was buying some from work, and you know, so I can relate to that.
Well, I wish heroin was where it stopped. Fentanyl was that was the one that really, you know, fentanyl is the one that did this.
So
that's how I ended up losing the leg.
Lost your leg. Was that due to like an abscess or?
No, we're still 12 years from that.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're at 2010. That didn't happen until 2022.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was that recent for you.
Oh yeah. I just had I had 7 surgeries last year. I just had my 7th surgery on October the 10th.
And how are you doing with that?
Man, as good as I can.
But I can you jumped out of an airplane, dude. Like,
yeah. I've always been an extremist. I've always been an extremist. And now I'm just trying to take that extreme and put it to positive stuff.
Manny Vitale is going to join us if that's okay.
All right.
Hey, Manny.
Hey, Krista, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? This is David Riggins.
David, how you doing, brother?
I can't complain about yourself.
Hey, I tell you what, woke up today. It's a good day.
Amen.
There you go.
Hey, man, nice to meet you, brother.
You as well.
Didn't mean to be jumping in and interrupting you, man, but
oh, you all right?
I got this last me and Krista, anything for her, man. I'm all in. So
I love this dude. He's my brother from another mother.
Oh, God. Yeah, I tell you what, Krista started this army. Yeah. And we're growing. We're growing. So David, man, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, you as well.
So Manny, David was telling me his story. Recently, David jumped out of an airplane, and I'm not trying to tell your business, but like you are missing a leg, and you've done all of this courageous, integral things, for recovery, and I commend you for that, David, and you as well, Manny. How are you feeling? You just had
yeah, I tell you, man. Last show we did, I was just recovering from I tore my tricep tendon in half, and I had.
Oh, that's right.
I had in October the 9th. I had 2 anchors, and I reattached the tendon. I enjoyed it so much. 3 weeks later, I ripped it apart again, so they put in 3 anchors. Reattached it, and it's doing great. However, last Thursday, I missed the operating room so much that I went in this last Thursday, and I had 6 hours of surgery on my back, and they went in through my side, and they put in a cage, 2 plates and 4 screws on my low back last Thursday. And So, but I tell you what, my doctor is amazing. Obviously, the surgical pain right now, little sketchy. But the physical symptom pain that I had before is, it's recovery, just like all of us. It's recovery now with my back surgery. But I tell you what, 5 days post-op, God is good. God is great.
That is good.
So,
Amen.
but yeah, man, I'm good, man. But Krista, thank you again. I appreciate this.
You're welcome, and I'm glad we got to touch base. And like
Yeah,
David, I
yeah,
know you're feeling well because so
yeah.
David
Definitely
was
looking
telling me
forward to
this
meeting you,
story.
Dave. If if that's cool, man. Love to hear everything what's going on with you, brother.
Oh yeah, yeah. Same here.
I've been wanting to do David's story for a few months, and then I'm just going across, scrolling through Facebook and things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude just jumped out of an airplane. That's so. So, like, are you doing it for recovery, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
what is the name
that's
of the
not what it
cause?
was. That's absolutely not what it was originally for. No,
Right.
no.
That was just
I,
for
I
this
no.
movement.
I put a post on Facebook. I did it for me to begin with. I put a
Right.
post on Facebook saying I may have lost my leg, but I didn't lose my balls. I want to jump out of an airplane. Who wants to go with me? And
Man, that's awesome, brother.
there's a lady named Melissa Williams. She lost her daughter to a fentanyl overdose a couple of
Oh,
years
that's
ago,
the one you were talking about. Yeah.
and she sent me a message that evening and said, "Look, if I send you a picture of my daughter, will you carry her picture with you when you go and do that jump?"
Wow.
Oh man.
And I said, "That's what this is about." So then I put an announcement out there, and I told everybody, I was like, "Look, if you've lost a loved one to addiction, if you've lost a loved one to overdose, send me their picture, and I want to take them on Last Sober Hurrah." So we had about 40 people that was images that were sent in with us, and took and made shirts up and wore the pictures and everything, and took them on one Last Sober Hurrah.
Man,
That's what's up. Like
that is,
that is
David. God bless you,
so.
brother.
Yes. Like wow. Like I'm just so inspired by both of you, and like I told him, I said, Manny, you're gonna have to get better so we can go jump out of an airplane with him.
I tell you what,
The
I don't know
whole
about that.
army.
But you know what, for what you just said, David, I tell you what, I just did a quick live before coming on here, and we were talking about, addiction and all that, and how some people, they said addicts were selfish and were weak. And man, it pissed me off. You talk about weak and cowards and all that. God
I
bless
don't
you for
think
what
so.
you just did. How addicts are selfish. What you just did by carrying that woman's daughter and doing that, I mean, that is so touching, man. Thank you for what you've done. And I always, like I tell people, it takes one person to change someone's life. And
Absolutely.
David, what you just did, someone hearing your story, I mean, that's beautiful, man. But as
Yeah.
far as me jumping out of a plane, I'm going to leave that to David. I'll come up with some other crazy
Come
shit on the
on.
ground. You know what, though? I tell you what, when I heal up, where you at, David? Where do you live?
Well, I live in North Carolina. The jump we did March 2nd was in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're doing one May 18th in Waverly, Tennessee, which is just outside of Nashville. We're going to be doing another one.
Is this something that's going to be like you get going? Because I tell you what, you got something here, man. If you could get people like what you just did, how many 40
people that
pictures?
sent, yeah, about 40.
Man, you
This is
got.
so cool.
Well,
We'll
Krista.
see.
Yes, I'm telling you, man.
So you said May. I tell you what, man. Maybe we should get people started like me from My Fight at War. You and work some. I got to talk to my. I got to talk to my surgeon. Ask me if I can jump out of a plane. But man, David, that's awesome, man.
Yes. David.
One thing I
just
will
couldn't
say,
believe it.
you made a really good point, dude, when you was talking about how selfish we can be when we are active addicts. See, look, the community that I run online is called the HEAL family. Okay, HEAL is an acronym. It means help others, empathize for others, accept others, and love others.
That's right.
It's all about trying to trying to fix all of those years of being such a selfish individual.
Right.
And
That's what my community is about.
In
That's-
sobriety, I've met some of the most God-fearing, kick-ass people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes people get stagnant and they create a stigma of people in recovery and addiction. I know, because I mean, before I ever became an addict or an alcoholic, I judged people like me because that's how I grew up, and it was the stereotype of, oh, they're drug guys, but they're still people, and
That-
you treat people with kindness and respect and love.
But that's another thing I always say. I just got done saying on that live. I said, you know what? Talking about this stuff, don't put that label. Fuck that
No.
label, man. You know what?
That's right.
We were people before we were addicts. We were people
right.
before we were alcoholics. And you know
And
what?
we're
I'm Manny
survivors.
Vitale. Addict is something that was labeled on there. Before that, I'm Manny Vitale. We're people, and we'll be people
right.
after when we're in recovery, beating this shit. We're beating it. And but Dave, like you were saying about selfish and all that, the way that, and when I talk, it's just I don't ever put words in anyone else's mouth. But the way I feel is, I was as evil and selfish as they come, and now being sober and seeing it, and just realizing, man, you prick, and I thought by doing all these things was cool and felt good, but what you just said about giving back. Holy man, when you give back, that feeling, and us as addicts knowing how empty that space is, that dark hole of hell that we deal with, and then we get recovery, we get all this love, and what do? We give it away, and it makes it so that that's awesome, man.
We don't
That's
have to. We get to. We get to, by the grace of God. We get to. We don't have to. We get to.
yeah. No, I mean,
we were on a self-will run riot, and like I know for me, I had to turn my life over to God and my higher power, because if I didn't, I was going to be on that self-will run riot. Don't you know who I think I am? La-di-da, downhill spiral, and there's no telling where I would have been.
Yeah, and
God put me in this path for each and every person that I meet, and each and every person that I've helped, and each and every person it's not me, man. I give the glory to God. But
so I actually, one thing I will sit there and comment on about the point that you just made about the being able to give back. Okay. All right. See, like, I don't know if you can see right here. All right. You can't really see it real good, but anyway, I got Jeremiah 29:11 right here on more. All right. I don't know if y'all know that scripture. All right. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Okay, listen. Okay, so what does God's promise there? To make you prosperous if you walk in this path. Now, he's not talking about money.
right.
An individual that is prosperous is an individual that has something to give away.
Right.
Okay, so if we walk in his path, he will put in our heart things that we can give away, meaning that we can help someone, that we can be there for someone, that we can actually do for others instead of always worrying about ourselves. Because when we're poor, we don't have anything to give to others, but when we're prosperous, we can help other people.
man,
When you're humble, and you're humble.
You're humble, and the thing is, we have, like you said, back then we had nothing, and we kept it. We like that's that selfish part. But now it's like, to whom much is given, much is expected. And for you, we all have our backstories and all that. And mine, real quick, was I've been so blessed to still be alive. I've been shot in the face. I got a plate here, stabbed here, sepsis, my appendix burst, both lungs filled with blood, with a bad shoulder surgery. And the worst was 4 years ago, January 27th, that I was taken by ambulance. I was as yellow as a banana because I was in organ failure from my drinking. Pancreas, kidneys, and liver all shut down. And finally, they came in and they said, "Manny, you were in organ failure. Now your organs have stopped functioning. There's nothing we can do. You've got less than 6 weeks to live." Hospice came in, the clergy, they gave me, say goodbye to your family. And they came in, did my blood work the next day to give to hospice. And they were like checking the results, and they wouldn't say shit to me. I stayed in that hospital 7 more days, every day getting more blood, and every day more and more doctors. On the last day they came in, my room was full. And they're like, the Dr. Death, the one that said I was going to be dead in 6 weeks and said goodbye to my family, they're sitting there laughing at me. So I replied with, "You evil fuck. You sent me home to die and you're laughing?" And him and his associate started crying. She sat down. She said, "Manny, we're sending you home to live." She goes, "Your organs shut down. There's no coming back. Hospice is taking over. There's no coming back. But your numbers have not only stabilized, they went back to normal. Pancreas, kidneys, liver went back to normal."
Wow.
And if you don't, like you said about giving back,
Yeah.
I mean, I was never a Bible thumper and all that, but if you don't, faith, and I don't care what God you believe in, that's fine as long as you have faith and believe. But like David, what you said, man, I mean, and just like, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, man, I fear no evil because I know that you are with me always. Your staff and rod comfort me. You set a place for me at the table of my enemy.
Serenity.
Bam. I love that. So that was on your arm. That's beautiful, man. It's beautiful, it's strong, and it's giving.
Yeah.
I had this entire sleeve right here. My whole sleeve is biblical, right? I had this whole sleeve done 4 days before I got burned when I lost my leg.
Did you go?
4
How'd
days
that
before.
happen? I mean, I came in late. How
Oh,
that?
yeah. So,
We
yeah,
never
we were
made
on
it.
that.
We
Oh,
never
I'm
made it to
sorry.
that part anyway.
Hey,
We never made it to that.
We haven't made it to yet. We were in 2010. So
oh,
I jumped ahead too.
gotcha, man.
Yeah.
So please continue.
Sure.
Well, I'll just skip up. Basically, I went from being a soldier in the army, got hurt in a training accident, got over medicated, a bunch of narcotics, and then snowballs into becoming a homeless IV addict. On December 20th, 2022, I got so intoxicated on illicit fentanyl that I laid there for 6 hours while a space heater fell on my leg, burned it so bad that they ended up having to amputate it. At 85% of my left leg was 3rd-degree burns. We're talking bone and ligaments exposed.
So like that's a really bad, okay, so that's why I assumed, and that's why I asked you. So I'm sorry for assuming that it was like from IV drug use or anything, because that is a gash. I mean, that looks like a shark attack. I don't know, Manny,
that was
when
a
you
burn.
get off of here, he has it on his Facebook, and your sense of humor about the state is not funny.
So you said it was the heater that fell? Is that what it was?
A space heater fell on my leg, and I laid there for 6 hours, unconscious, kind of squirming around. That's how the burns. I have burns that go all the way from the top of my hip and used to go to my ankle, the part that don't exist anymore.
That's bad. I mean, I just broke my heart.
So I left the hospital on February the 8th, 2023. So just a year and a couple months ago, as a below the knee amputee. And if you realize I'm an above the knee amputee now. So I left the hospital as a below the knee amputee. And then in May, this past May, my fibula, you have 2 bones in the lower portion of your leg, your fibula and your tibula. My fibula bone began sticking out of the end of my stomach. And I went through 4 rounds of bone infections before they finally said, we're going to have to amputate again. We don't cut more off of you, you're going to die. So it's funny. You said yours was on October 9th. Mine on October the 10th. That's when I had my above the knee amputation done. And I just made a video talking about this the other day about how I purposefully vlogged every bit of it to have proof because I knew there would be doubters for what I'm fixing to tell you. But see, I refuse pain medication. Because when the first 6 surgeries that I had, the ones that were held between December 20th and February 8th, I took every bit of narcotics they would give me then. Right. But when on October the 10th, where it's been 8 months since I had been out of ICU, my mind was, okay, I cannot circle backwards.
Right.
And so I
Wow,
told him,
that's
I
just
actually signed a waiver to refuse payment in order to be able to have them agree to not do the pain medication. When I
that
came
takes
out of anesthesia, my blood pressure was 240 over 180. I was going into shock.
oh,
I was just going to say, because with certain, I mean, it comes to a certain point where the
Oh, yeah.
pain you will put you in, you go into shock, die.
Yeah.
So I
They-
mean, so,
They didn't give me a choice. They wanted to give me a 4 milligram shot of Dilaudid, and I tried to fight them.
well, like I said, if that, I mean, you wouldn't be here. I mean, but God bless
Well,
you, man. So
Oh,
that's
no.
just,
No,
whoa.
we settled. We settled on a 0.5 milligram shot of Dilaudid.
From 4 to a half.
Yeah. And it brought the blood pressure down. It alleviated that. And I came out of post-op at 8:30 p.m. on October the 10th. At 5 p.m. on October 11th, I was discharged from the hospital.
wow.
The reason is because the doctor came in midday on October the 11th and was like, "You keep refusing the pain medication. Literally, there's nothing for you to do but sit in that bed." He was trying to entice me to be like, no, I need to be here where the pain medicine is.
Right.
So basically, you were there
you may
for
as well
pain
go home.
management then.
Exactly. He said, you could go home and sit in the bed just the same. I said, write the discharge papers in.
Yeah. Woo.
So I literally had video on here on October the 10th with me in the pre-op room sitting there saying, "Look, y'all, if I don't make it out, I loved y'all."
Oh man, God.
And then, then 20 hours later, me in the car with my dad saying, "Guess who's already out?" I did have catheterized nerve blocks installed, and they let me home with the catheterized nerve blocks. That's the only reason why I was able to survive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with that amount of pain,
it is what it is.
I mean, it is pain. I mean, I'm sure because I mean, even a burn is painful. I know that's some of the most horrific pain in the world is a burn pain. Like
oh man.
No.
and
We're
things like
way
that.
past the burn. We're talking about the actual amputation. This
Yeah.
was above the knee. Yeah, I was way
That's what I'm
past the pain
saying.
from
Oh
the
my
burn.
God. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't even imagine
Yeah. Oh,
the
it
burn
was.
plus that. Oh my gosh. You know.
I mean,
it was,
and actually, too, when you go, David, as you know, because I was a former Detroit police officer in EMT, and as far as with those burns, yeah, it hurts like hell up to a point, and then it gets to the point where it doesn't hurt because you burn the nerve endings, 3rd degree.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you're dealing with past that, David. So I get what you're talking about as far as going into the cutting of the bone and stuff. So, man.
Oh, it was intense. It was intense. But see, here's the deal. I did not refuse the pain medication because I was scared I would relapse. That's not why I refused the pain medication. See, when I got out of the hospital on February the 8th last year, I went to the methadone clinic on February 9th with the original intentions to detox from day one. I only went for 2 months. I began the titration down from day one. Okay. So my point is that on October 10th, when I had the above the knee amputation, I knew that I could do the exact same thing, and I could have managed to not get back on. But I did it as a personal challenge to myself. I told myself, I said, you know what? If you're strong enough to survive this without pain medication, then ain't a damn thing that fucking life can throw at you where you'll question your sobriety again.
David,
Because that's how my mind works.
And like, just imagine what the people that have survived things like this, I mean, are the most like, I fear nothing but God. Like, I literally fear nothing. Like, I've been through it all. I've been through abuse. I've been through drugs. I've been through alcohol. I've been through abuse. All of it together. And like, but I have never been through that. Like, I can imagine what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And imagine what we could do with that.
Well, the thing is, too, Chris,
in the head, it's when you go through these programs and in recovery and things like that, and like you're like, you don't let nothing stop you. Like, I won't let nothing stand in the way of my sobriety. God first, me, and you have to be selfish in your sobriety in order to be selfless.
And one of the big things that I always say is it goes right in with us three. This triangle right here is all of us. Is one thing I always say is we have no limits. The only limitations we have are the limitations that we put on ourselves.
That's right. And
That's
that's
it.
right here.
That's
Right
it.
here.
Amen.
And that's your David. You're proof. You're proof. So man, it's
I
Uh,
see you online all the time. I see Manny online every day, you know, and I work a lot and I haven't been on there as much as I'm supposed to be or should be. But like, I commend you guys. I am so inspired by what all of us do in recovery. And the whole point of Sober Patrol is all of us staying sober in unity. And that means your site, my site, their site, everybody's site. It's not a one person site thing.
oh
This
yeah.
is an army of people that we need to take this shit down. And I'm done with it. Like, I'm done seeing people die that I sit next to in an AA meeting, and the next day they're gone because they overdosed on fentanyl and they don't know how to get help. They don't know they don't know their resources. They don't know the things that I didn't know when I was in active addiction. I didn't know. And, you know, it is around where I'm at. It's crazy because I would see a drug dealer in an AA meeting that used to sell me drugs. And the funny thing is one of my drug dealers, and I say that now because I'm clean, I'm sober, I've done everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I don't regret it either because it made me who I am today. But, and it is what it is. But one of my drug dealers went from being my drug dealer to being in jail with me, to being in the sober house with me, to being my temporary sponsor, to being my tech at the rehab. Ain't that some shit?
hey,
Like that, but God is all I got to say about that.
full circle, man.
Like,
I couldn't begin to tell you how many of my ex drug dealers and then my ex customers when I was a dealer that are followers of mine that have turned their life around or have not
that's the whole
and,
point.
and
That
respect
God
the hell
put
out
us
of what I
through
do.
anything so that we can help other people. We live
Yeah.
once, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is too is when I first started my 5-Hour War, I had no idea. I've never done this. I never did public speaking. I'd see a camera and and now you can't shut me up. But the thing is you know, like with me, I've never done this, but I'm not a life coach. I'm not a counselor. I got no experience. What I do have is I'm one of you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to sit there and tell you you need to do this or you need to do that. What works for me might not work for you. What
Right.
works for you might not work for me. But we don't. One thing that we all know is a drug addict, alcoholic. You can't lie to an addict. You can't lie to an alcoholic because I told that fucking lie 2 years before you just did. So
It's like,
yeah,
oh,
I mean,
look, there I am walking through the door right now. I remember
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
remember that
So I
mentality right
mean,
there.
and like David, you nailed it, man. The respect, because the ones that saw us at our weakest, and now but that old saying, man, misery loves company. There's a lot of people out there that want to see us fail, and it makes us stronger. And like David, meeting you just now, and Krista, you know I love you. David, I look forward to following you and your page now, man. And
Yes. Unity.
I'd be
That's
honored
huge.
to have
That's
you.
it.
I'd love to have you on. And Krista, like me and you, we got this anytime. But David, I'd be honored if you'd come on as well. That's you can never have enough support. Krista, like you
Absolutely.
said too about the help's there. I did a show and I had someone from Saskatchewan say, well, as EMT, as a police officer, is there help? The help is there, but don't ever say like it's easy. It's not easy. That first step, just to say you're an alcoholic, is hard. And
No.
all of these sites, all of us, we're here. But when you take that first step, that fear, you don't know what to do, where to say,
Right.
and that's where people sometimes demean people. But then they can talk to David, Krista, me, and we're not going to sit there and throw terminology and textbook at you. We're going to throw, real shit at you, and we're going to be there because we're not going to judge you. We're not going to tell you what to do.
Right.
We're going to understand, and
Because we've been there.
And the day
We've
with
been
with
there.
your
It may not be the exact same story that you have or you have, but it may be relatable,
Yeah.
And I know that someone watching, even one of the three of us, it's going to be relatable in some way, some form, some fashion, that it would be able to help people, that there is help out there. Like,
Oh man.
talk to me. Reach out to Sober
You,
Patrol. Reach out to My Fight Our War. Reach out to David Riggins. Reach out to
Yeah.
somebody.
you just hit the reason, the core concept of what the Hill community is about right there. We are not about drugs. We're not about recovery. That's not what my group is about. We are about lifting people up out of their struggle,
Yes.
because everybody has their own personal struggle,
That's right.
albeit mental health, SADV. I don't care
Mental
what list you want to put that long of letter terminology. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's story has some correlation from one to the next.
Absolutely.
Just because we have different backstories, just because we have different struggles, we all have things that are similarities.
David,
We can
human.
still lift each
Like,
other
we're
up.
human beings.
this show is meant to happen because what you just said about you were lifting people up. My fight, our war.
That's right.
Think about it. My fight, alcohol, what drugs, something like that. Someone's my fight for them might be fentanyl. Someone's my fight might be eating disorder. Someone's my fight might be this. But our war is addiction. It is depression. And then so we take my fight, and then we take our war, and we take it all. We lift it up. But yeah, man, and it's just like you said. You don't have to be an alcoholic or an addict to have a shitty day.
You see what I'm trying to say.
I got you, man. And the thing,
it's about the healing. It's about the healing and the humbleness. Like it doesn't have to
and
be
relating. Yeah, man.
It's
David,
about self-love. Like you have low self-esteem and you're suicidal. Like they got the new 988 hotline, suicide hotline out now. They can help people that with mental health, because I do speak out for mental health. For sure.
Yeah, good. David, I'm sorry, Kristen. Did you say this all happened so fast? You said military, right?
Yeah, I was in the Army.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for your service, man. And it just goes to show you, Kristen, you can't put a category and a face and a picture and put it. Alcoholic looks like this here.
Right.
Drug addict looks like this here. Idiot looks like because you could be 100% wrong and have all the pictures look totally different. But the bottom line, David, is like what you said. When it comes down to it, it doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic. It doesn't matter if you're a heroin addict. It doesn't matter if you're using fentanyl, if you're eating disorder and all that. The pain and suffering that you feel is the same pain and suffering. So
exactly.
I'm really looking forward to your page, man. I can't wait to start following you. It's and Krista, this is because of you. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. So thank you, man. So thank you.
Now you're welcome. And I'm so glad you guys are here right now. And like it's ordained for us to be here right now. And I'm a very empathetic person. Like I see anybody struggling, whether they're hungry, whether they're in addiction, whether they're in anything that is wrong. Like I want to be there for that person. Because like I've been in all those categories, all of them. Like you said, the list is long. And I love you guys, and I'm really glad that y'all came on tonight. And
it wasn't just real quick too is sober. It's not one. It's not me. It's we. It's us. And it doesn't matter if it's My Fight Our War, Sober Patrol, Sober is Cool, Your Site, and all that. Those are just names of family that's lifting us all up together. And in fact, I've just got an awesome person, Pam, from Sober, Sassy and Sober. Sassy and Sober from Pam is the admin, the creator, and I'm going to do a show with her tomorrow. And I can't remember how she hasn't been doing this so long, and she's just killing it because of the passion, the caring. So, she's another one that can be part of this amazing group of warriors, man.
We should all have a show together. Like
we'll get her on there. Like I said, Pam, Sassy and Sober, and it's such an honor to meet, Dave, for first of all, again, your service, and then to tell your story, and to open up, to be vulnerable, man. It's okay. And for the longest time, guys like us, it's that alpha dog shit. We don't hurt, we don't feel pain, we don't show it. I cry. I always cry. I cry all the time. And you know what? And I know people that sit there and do their videos, and as soon as they start to get a little missy, they'll they'll actually edit it out. Man,
Come
Not me.
it's
on.
called real life.
It's
Not me.
real. Like
Yeah.
we're
So
human beings with feelings, man. And you know, that's compassion, that's love, that's all of it together.
yeah.
I'm a
Like
very
I
real,
feel
very
when
raw
I see a
person.
man cry, it breaks. I choke up like really hard because it's like you have to let a lot go to do that. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think a real man does cry. So,
Without a
I
doubt,
would,
man.
yeah.
but
I'll tell you what, David, man, your story, dude. I mean, that just still thinking about what you did with jumping out of the plane. And the
it's
thing is, when
insane.
they talk about selfish and weak and all that, and you hear a story like that, something that seems so little to some, I mean, the people that you just touched, that you said it was that lady's daughter, right?
That's who started it.
Yeah. So you figure right now, man, and I'm just talking what's in my mind, thinking about her asking you to do that. Her
Yeah.
daughter was flat. Her daughter was up there with the angels, and
Oh,
that was you.
yeah.
That was you.
Yeah, Mima knows. That's what we call it, Mima. Mima, you know you're the reason why that little light switch went off and said, "Okay, here's what we do."
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
That,
man. We
so I know like like at the rehab that I was at, they had all these butterflies and stuff on the wall of people's names, and then they had like rock gardens and things like that. But that's a really big stand to like actually fly in the
Mm.
sky with their names, and that
yeah.
in remembrance of the people that have lost their lives, they don't get a second chance or a third chance
yeah.
to do what you did. So that's very commendable, very brave, and I am very inspired by that.
And
Thank you
then
so much.
and then again, that's just that giving, like you said it earlier, David. That giving, and
Yeah,
and then Christy, you nailed it with the selfish. And it's like, well, I'm not doing enough for this person. Well, you know what? You're still hurting. You
Mm.
can't help this person, and it's not it's nothing new. Can't help yourself or help others until you help
what
yourself.
I was saying is
Yep.
that you
Yep.
have to
Yeah,
be selfish in order to be selfless.
yeah,
In
yeah,
recovery,
yeah.
you have to get where you need to be in your recovery and to be the best version of you so that you can help somebody else. Is kind of like what I mean by that.
No,
I
yeah,
don't know.
that's it.
May just be AA talking, but it
Yeah.
helped me, like I'm slowed down a lot from the AA program and stuff right now, but like just staying busy, filling that void, jumping out of airplanes. I would love to come do that with you. I'm
See,
in.
you
I'm
know,
totally in.
and that's when I know when we did another show, there were some people talking about different programs and organizations, and I
Yeah.
will never, ever, ever badmouth any. I never, David, when this happened to me 4 years ago, COVID hit. So first of all, I was supposed to be dead. So then I lived. So then I leave the hospital, and they're like, "Well, you have to be in intensive rehab, like every minute of every day." So okay, so I go. And they're like, Mr. Vitale, we are shut down. COVID shut the world down. Nothing is open. If you have any suicidal tendencies, go to ER. So I never had a meeting. I never had a counselor. I never had a coach. I never had any type of meetings because 4 years ago, the world was shut down. By the
Right.
grace of God, I have never had a craving. I've never had withdrawals.
That's so
I never had anything, which I really love because for me, it's an open book because I don't have opinions on different organizations and groups.
right.
All I know is
Yeah.
what
Me
works for
neither.
me and share it. And
Whatever
I've had
works for you.
whatever works for you. And I've had
Yeah.
people tell me that, like I said, I'll never badmouth an organization, but I had someone said that they felt pressured by this one organization because they had to do this before they did that. And then if they didn't do it, they felt that they were just being pressured. That's the last thing we need. And
That's
so,
it.
but then again, I had people at My Fight or War that was, listen, man, we need more help. There's not enough of this. And that person needed that. So as I said, we fixed it up and we got the two together, and it's a marriage made in heaven. So,
Right.
so man, I mean,
So
we're
it got
here.
me to where, okay, so for me, it was it was after going to jail, it was mandatory for me to have to do those programs. So, but at first I fought it and I fought it and I fought, oh, I don't want to, that self will run riot attitude. And you know, which I'm so thankful that I do not have to do that anymore, because that wasn't who I am. But it got me to where it structured me back from my mind being in that haze, and I was lost. I mean, I was
Yeah.
living in a tent under a bridge. I went from being an engineer, I was a piping engineer, which I'm getting back into now and going back to school and things like that. I'm actually getting my CDCA, which is my chemical dependency counselor license. I'm getting that starting next month. So went from construction worker to living in the woods on drugs, and so I mean, it got me back to that structurized where I needed
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
And for me it worked. But
Yeah.
I'm slowed down from it now, but I stay busy. The last thing I ever think about is drugs. I want to help people, and I think God sent me through this path to be able to do that. So
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
you got to go through something in order to build that
you
testimony.
got to
I
get
mean,
uncomfortable so you'll move.
and how
yeah.
many times have we all heard, well, they're not ready for help yet. They haven't hit bottom yet. They haven't hit this yet. They haven't hit the worst
Right.
yet. And that's true, because there
Yeah.
were many times, and we've all been there, where it's like, this is it, man. And it's usually
Hmm.
because we were so hungover. It's like, oh, please just kill me. And then all of a sudden, after a few days, it was like, you start to feel better. It's like, well, okay, so it wasn't so bad after
Mhm.
all. But for me, my holy shit moment was when I turned yellow, and when they said, here's hospice, you're going to be dead in 6 weeks. And so everyone's moment's different, but the bottom line is it's the same, because something got us to that point where
Right.
that was it. And,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter how we got there. It matters that we got there. And thank God
Right.
we made it over it and into recovery, where Krista, Davis, man, so many of our brothers and sisters. And that's another
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
like you said, about making it right with ourselves. My little brother Kevin, who he's not blood brother, but he's my brother. He didn't make it, and when I speak with him in my heart, and I feel I'd be doing him such a disservice if I don't give back. And that's just
Yeah.
part of, like you said, Krista, keeping yourself busy, and David, for what you're doing and all that. We're all different, but we're all the same, brother.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
And but
One day at a time.
one day at a
That's what
time, man.
I tell
One
people all
moment
the
at a
time
time.
that I
We
have
don't have bad.
survivor's guilt.
I don't have bad days anymore. I
I'm
have
ready
bad
to
moments.
just.
So, but I love you guys, and I thank you both so much for coming tonight. I know we probably all got to get up and go to work. Well, I do tomorrow, but
No. I'm a
I
disabled
hope
veteran.
we
I ain't
can
going
do
to
this
work.
again.
You
Well,
know
man,
what? Yeah. You know what's that? Real quick, I heard something. I heard out of David. I heard the word survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've got. Obviously, you got it. I fucking got it, because my brother, best friend, I crawled into his hospital bed as he took his last breath and died. He died from complete organ failure, kidneys, pancreas, liver. I'm still here. When I was riding with the highwaymen, a couple of my buddies that passed, I zipped up the body bag. I'm still here. When I was with the
Mm.
Detroit police, some of my partners were killed. I'm still here. It's like, piece of shit like me and the stuff I did. Why? So I got you, Dave. I just heard that in my ear. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going to say something about, but it's all good.
no, but I got you, brother, man. So God bless you.
go ahead, David.
No, I'm
Say-
done.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you
Oh.
guys.
I
I love
appreciate
you
y'all.
guys.
I hope
Dave,
y'all have a good one.
Man, what's your page?
It's a Heal Family. If my
It's
website
amazing.
is heal-family.com.
Heal-family.com.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
I
got
apologize if I
it's
interrupted you.
no, you good. You good. It's got all like 7 of my platforms on it.
Okay. Is there anything else besides that one? Are there any other page or something like that? Or is that the main one?
Well, that's my website that has
Oh.
it has everything.
Oh, everything
listed
on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got my TikTok, my Instagram, all of my Facebooks, YouTube, all of them.
Cool, man. I'm checking. I wrote that down. I'm gonna do it as soon as we get off this thing.
It's pretty amazing. It's amazing what you're doing, David, and it's amazing what you're doing, Manny.
No,
And I
back
love
at
you.
you. Thank you for this. And Dave, man, it's a pleasure meeting you, brother.
You as well.
Thank you, Dave. It's actually a pleasure finally meeting you. We were supposed to meet a couple months ago and we didn't get to do that. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
Oh, you
You know how women are.
good.
Krista, I love you, honey.
I love you
And,
too, Manny.
We
Love
will
you too,
chat
David.
soon, David. I'll get in touch with you, man, and we'll set something up.
Most definitely.
All right,
right.
man. You have a great night.
All
You
right,
too,
y'all
you
too.
guys.
All right,
Love you
bye-bye.
guys.
Love
All
you.
right, love y'all.